Hello everyone, it's Allison from AllisonReads.co, and today I am answering another question that came from the Mindful Marketing Maven group, which is my free group on Facebook. And the question is, how do you promote your products for the best reach? So if you're trying to sell something and you're trying to reach as many people as possible in order to increase your sales, and you want to know the answer to this question, then just keep watching. So this is a really, really good question, and it's another question where there are some kind of complications in answering it in a simple way. So the first thing that I want to mention about how to sell your products for the biggest reach and get the biggest reach is that you need to start by looking at the product, because the best way to sell it is always going to vary depending on what you're selling. Even if you have a blog and you're selling something just with a blog, the way that you sell it may change depending on whether the offer is really, really low ticket or a little bit high ticket. And by low ticket, I mean like $11, $21, $50. By higher ticket, I mean anything from a couple $100s to maybe even a couple $1,000s. The way that you sell those two things is going to vary widely. You need to use different ways of selling those things, because with a higher ticket offer, you have to build more trust on the front end. Whereas with a lower ticket offer, you don't have to build as much trust. It's usually more of a compulsive buy. So people are usually willing to spend their money with a little less convincing. If you guys are here, make sure you let me know that you can hear me. I see a few people hopping on and off already, which is great. Let me know what questions you have. Say hello so I know you can hear me in the chat. So that's the first thing you need to determine is think about what you're selling and what the price point is, and then come up with your sales strategy from there. And usually you're going to be using email, but if you're selling a high ticket offer, then you're going to want to use another trust building mechanism, which I'll talk about in a second. So the thing that matters most when you're selling is obviously you want to get the biggest reach possible. There's two things that really, really matter even before you're talking about reach and getting your first sales. One of the things that matters that will always trump even skill is consistency. Consistency and grit will win every single time because, hey, Tony, thank you. If you keep going, you can't fail. If you don't quit, you can't fail. I don't know if I made up that quote or if it came from somewhere. I guess I should Google it. I say it all the time. But if you don't quit, you can't fail. You just have to keep going. So even though you may sell something and it may not sell that well, if you just sell something again, if you just keep trying, then eventually you'll figure out what your audience wants and what your superpower is, and you'll be able to stack your income and make more money. So consistency matters a lot, even more than having a really big audience. And that's true. I say this all the time, my first 5-figure launch was with an audience of 300 people. And it's just because I really believed in the offer. I really figured out what they wanted. I showed the heck up a whole lot. And it was a $300 offer with an upsell to one-on-one coaching that people could take advantage of. So some of those sales were $300, some of them were over $1,000, some of them over $3,000. So anyway, you can monetize a small audience, but that's not what this training is about. The other thing that matters a whole lot, and this trumps even grit or consistency, is that you believe in what you're doing. If you're trying to sell something, even at an $11 price point, and you think it's crap, it's going to be really hard to tell. And I've said this before too, but sales is a transfer of confidence. So if you don't believe in what you're selling, other people are not going to trust you or want to buy it. Your vibe when you're selling something, even if you're just selling in an email or a social media post, your vibe transfers in your copy. And that's why, mindset is not just woo-woo. The way that you feel about yourself and your business and what you're selling impacts your action. It's not just oh, I don't have confidence, so I'm not going to be able to sell. No, if you don't have confidence, it impacts your action, and then your action is not aligned with getting more sales. Dave says, I agree. You have to keep going and figure out what you have to offer to your crowd. Yeah, Dave's getting ready to launch. I have no doubt that your launch is going to be successful, Dave. I even want to buy it. And Dave helps people to save money. And his first offer is going to teach you how to save $10,000 a year. And it's not going to cost $10,000 to buy his program. So you're going to ROI. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Consistency will trump skill set every time. Just keep going. And then the way that you feel about your offer trumps even consistency. I know that's not the answer you want to hear for how to get the biggest reach, but those things matter more than how big your audience is. I promise you. I've had many clients with tiny audiences make money. Okay, so even though what you do matters, your mindset matters even more. Okay, so now let's get to the practical, which is what you guys probably came here for. The first thing I want to say about your offer is before thinking about getting the biggest reach, I want you to test and validate your offer by selling it. So always focus on organic first. Now, like how to get the biggest reach with your offers, in my Monetization Accelerator program, I always teach people low energy launches because people get so scared of launching for the first time that too many tasks will make you overwhelmed and it may delay your action. So for your first launch, if you're kind of new to selling, I would do the minimum. Just send a few emails out that are really punchy. You really believe in your offer. That's a really good way to test it. Now, how do you expand your reach either once an audience is tested or if you're ready to kind of go big or go home on your first launch? So one really, really inexpensive way to increase your reach is with warming ads on Facebook. When I say warming ad, I'm talking about an ad that's not conversion based or even click based. It's based on post engagement or views. So just to give you guys some perspective, if I do a campaign on Facebook where I'm optimizing for clicks or traffic, in other words, I usually personally pay for my niches like $1 to $2 per click. So if you think about the fact that you want to have 1,000 clicks to build an audience, that gets really, really expensive. My husband is at the vet with my dog. We'll be done soon. I'll call him right back. That gets really expensive to pay for clicks. But if you think about the fact that you can get a post engagement or a video view for like a penny or 5 cents, you can grow an audience way faster. So if you can build an audience with warming ads before you launch and then do a retargeting ad on Facebook, that's one way to really expand your reach with like a little bit of dollars behind it. So warming ads on Facebook, retargeting to opt-in, retargeting opt-ins to sales. That's a really great like low-cost funnel on Facebook. Other ways that you can increase your reach are by having your own Facebook group. Now, obviously, like I would treat creating a Facebook group like its own launch. A Facebook group it does take effort to maintain, but it's an asset that you're building for your business. The videos and podcasts are also another great way to expand your reach. Part of why I've been going live more often is because my organic is like it's expanding my organic audience a little bit. So I've been doing these lives on my page instead of in my group like I used to do to kind of expand my reach a little bit. So just to kind of review, how do you promote your product for the best reach? First, you need to determine what you're selling and what the best way is to sell it, depending on the price point. Next, you need to make sure that you're committed to consistency and grit no matter what, and that you believe in your offer. If you don't believe in your offer, if you're not willing to be consistent, you're not going to be able to sell it or expand your reach, period. And then as far as then you need to validate the offer with organic traffic. So before using these other tools that I'm suggesting to expand your reach, you want to make sure to validate with organic. Now, when you're ready to expand your reach with a little bit of dollars behind it, I would do some warming ads on Facebook, and then I would retarget those for opt-ins and then retarget those for conversions. Now I always recommend you wait for paid traffic, because what happens is a lot of times people will do paid traffic before they're ready and they'll kind of accept this like slow bleed of expenses in their business. So I wouldn't recommend paid traffic until you really, really max out what you can do with organic. But yeah, those are some ways to increase your reach. Other kind of practical things you can do during a launch, like obviously you're sending emails to your list to sell during your launch, repurposing those emails for social media. Maybe even boosting some of those can be a good way to expand your reach as well. I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, just comment down below and let me know, and I'll come back and answer them. I do have a couple coaching spots available. I dropped my link if you want to schedule a call with me to chat. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.